The Republican House budget plan calls for stripping the EPA of its regulatory powers, claiming that the modernization of coal plants would trigger job losses and make energy more expensive. And yes, the new protections would raise the price of electricity, at least for now, adding a few dollars a month to your bill. But the EPA says the tougher and, yes, more expensive standards would also save lives. They would prevent 17,000 premature deaths, 11,000 heart attacks, 120,000 asthma attacks, and they would prevent 5.1 million restricted activity days due to air pollution and 850,000 lost days of work due to illness. Wouldn't those benefits save more than lowering the standards? The economics, comparing the amounts of money, it's not something we do very well, is it?
No, because you are one of the very few media outlets that actually putting these numbers out. I mean, if you go to the mainstream media, you barely see these things. You had to, I don't know, become your own editor in order to find these very enlightening statistics. We've been talking a lot about skepticism and people not believing in the new economy, that all this is too expensive, we have to invest too much. Well, let's talk about, let's say, cell phones. Cell phones, the first time they were put out on the market was in 1985, and they were as big and heavy as a brick. And they would drop half of the calls, and it cost $4,000 a piece. Now, cell phone, we all have one of those things that do just about everything for you except for the breakfast, right? And also, in many instances, they're free. Why? Because they were a brilliant idea. And people love having a cell phone that gives you so much autonomy, right? Well, it was a brilliant idea. It's the same thing with so many brilliant ideas about the green economy. The thing is that we had to put money into it, and then we'll see the results.
But here's the difference. You could wait until the cell phone matured as a technology and decide when you were going to jump into the pool. You can't decide when you're going to start using electricity. Everybody pays an electric bill. And when that bill comes and it's $4 more or $3 more, and the reason why, and the utility company says in big letters on your bill, here's the reason why, because Congress forced us to do this. That's a different experience from you as the consumer choosing and saying, yes, now I will adopt this technology because it finally got cheap enough for me to decide to do this.
It took a number of years, of course. It took a process, and also it took a lot of technology that was invented by government funds. Let's keep in mind, 80% of the technology that is developed in the United States is funded by the government. So that's the thing. We keep talking about, conservatives in Congress are hunting for mice when the big game is all around them and they don't pay any attention to it. And that's the reason why we're having this debate about cutting $40 million in green jobs and not going after the $73 billion in subsidies to the big oil companies.
Right. But it's important to note that when we talk about cost, we've been through this play many times before. The big polluters, whoever's being asked to clean up, are going to say, oh no, it's going to cost jobs and it's going to cost billions and billions of dollars. And you know what? Time after time, they're proven wrong. For example, in the Clean Air Act of 1990 that reduces acid rain, ended up costing 1/4 of what the EPA predicted would cost and about 1/10 of what they said the industry would cost. Why? Once you've got standards and timetables, you get the spin doctors and the lobbyists out of it, and you turn over to the managers and the engineers, and that's when they can innovate. They can innovate and create new products and new jobs. So that's why cleanup costs almost never come anywhere near what was predicted. In fact, EPA did a study for every $1 that we've spent on complying with clean air laws, it's provided $20 worth of economic benefits to this country, far greater than anyone predicted. So the cost is going to be lower.
But you don't enter this argument sort of on an even playing field. A lot of people spend a lot of money convincing consumers of the exact opposite of what you just said. It isn't even dollar for dollar. You guys don't have the kind of media firepower that the people who own energy companies have.
But the good news is those companies are basically wasting their money, who've spent $150 million last year to defeat clean air and clean energy legislation. Because by and large, poll after poll, whether done by the Washington Post or by the Sierra Club or whomever, found that generally speaking, anywhere between 60% to 2/3 of Americans support stronger health protections from carbon dioxide pollution and other pollutants, even if it costs jobs or increased prices. And you can look at it, poll after poll after poll comes out with the same results, regardless of the economy. The American people get it. They understand that clean air and clean water is a right, and that if we invest in those things, it will help our economy grow and help us become more competitive. The people who don't want to do that are the Exxon Mobils of the world, who just made $11 billion this past quarter alone due to higher oil prices and not due to any great innovation on their own. Those are the people who are trying to gum up the political process to keep those things from happening.